All right. So door knocking, and I know you are all excited to talk about this topic because you're all going to go out and door knock this weekend. Um, so these are the 9 tips for door knocking success. So we'll just get into it. So the first one, you want to do your research. So you want to make sure that when you pick an area to go door knocking, and you could do one of several things. It could be door knocking on the street that you have an open house coming up on. It could just be some area that you're prospecting and you're looking to really target and hit hard. Whatever it may be, you want to make sure you know certain things about that specific neighborhood to go door knocking with. So for instance, your home values. So you want to know the trend of the home values. Has the trend gone up? Has it gone down? Has it stayed steady? Who's moving in? Who's moving out? Those kind of things. So that all is going to help you with the home values, because when you're talking to a prospective, homeowner, they want to know what their value of their home is. The selling history of the neighborhood. So, how long ago do people usually stay in their homes? Is it a more of a people buy it as their second home and they live somewhere else? Is it a rental community where you buy it and you invest and they rent it out? So you want to know the selling history, who owns that house, how often does that neighborhood turn over, and that also gives a lot of good selling features by knowing that. So the school district's important, obviously, as well. So if you have young families coming into the town, they want to know what school systems that their kids are going to be going to and how their houses are rated. The safety rating. Now you want to be careful with this one because you just want to be able to tell them that the crime rate is XYZ in this neighborhood, this area, whatever. But you don't want to get into any specifics, but you want to have the information to be able to send them to the appropriate site so they can do whatever research, because you don't want to get into a problem where it could potentially be steering or one of those license violation situations. But you want to know the safety rating of the neighborhood and be able to talk about that. You also want to know the area attractions. So is there dining in the neighborhood? Is there arts program, museums, any entertainment spots, whatever, and also the public transportation. So you want to know all this when you're going to canvass a neighborhood and start door knocking, so you can be educated for them to know that you are the local expert of that particular neighborhood, and that's why they should use you should they decide to sell. All right, so that's step one. You want to be able to leave something if nobody's home. So you obviously don't want to go to a neighborhood and knock on 50 people's doors and get 0 people opening the door for you. That's a waste of the day. So depending on when you're doing the door knocking, and around 4:30 in the afternoon is generally the prime time. People are getting home from work. You're going to get some conversations, and they haven't gotten into their dinner routine yet or their nightly routine. And they're usually more apt to answer the door and have a brief conversation with you. So around 4:30 in the afternoon is prime time. But if you can't do it at that time, and say you're doing it at like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then you want to make sure you're leaving something. You want to make it informational. You want to have your marketing material that's branded to you also available and left. So business cards. If you have a flyer of a home that you're trying to promote in the neighborhood with your information on it, anything along those lines. And also the things we just talked about. So if you want to leave them something of value of what their home's potentially worth right now, or what their area is demanding for the home prices. So something that gives them a reason to give you a call back and say, oh, hey, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And yeah, I've kind of been thinking about, what my home's worth. Is it worthwhile to maybe sell right now and make a move? We've been discussing it, and that will give you some opportunities. So you want to leave something at someone's home. And if you go to any one of the vendors, Minuteman Press, anyone that Exit uses, they all have things called door hangers. Those are good things to bring with you on when you're going to door knock. Small gifts or treats are also a good idea to have. So that way, you're giving them something. They're taking time to talk with you and give you the time of day. And so you want to give them a little gift, respect for their time, and then that'll also set you apart. So scripts. So you want to make sure that you're prepared with something to say. So you don't want to just go knock on the door like yeah, I'm in the neighborhood and I just wanted to see if you are available to talk about your house. Like that's just never going to get you anywhere. So you want to be able to. You've got like 3 to 7 seconds to make an impact from someone, excuse me, answering the door. So there's a couple of different scripts that you can actually that I have here. One's the referral script, one's the neighborhood scripts, one's the value add script. So those are 3 scripts you can go. I'll just read one of them real quick. I'll let the value add one. Okay, so we'll do the neighborhood one because it's right here. So this is a good one to just kind of talk about the neighborhood. Hi there, my name is Rob. I'm a realtor selling a home at 123 Main Street, just down the street from you. Do you have a second to chat about it? And then you pause and get the permission. Thanks for giving me a second of your time. What's your name? Shake their hand, look them in the eye, and that'll just give you that ease of conversation. And then, like I mentioned, I'm helping the owners of 123 Main Street sell their home. They're downsizing now that their kids have moved out and going to college. Judging from the snowman in the backyard, you have some young kids at home. And since Vero Beach, the Vero Beach neighborhood school is so great, I'm knocking on doors, asking around if you might know any friends or relatives looking to buy. If you know anyone looking to buy, the sellers would certainly appreciate being connected with good family and could choose their neighbors. Want me to leave a few postcards with the open house details that you can share? And then you just that's just an easy way of getting them talking to you about real estate, but also potentially sending you potential buyers. And that's something we'll talk about in a little bit, but there's a couple of different avenues that you're looking to grasp when you're doing door knocking. And this is kind of a great script for, hey, you can choose your neighbors. Who do you want to be living next to? Help me out, find some good quality people to move into this neighborhood and, join with you. So that's just one script, but you want to make sure whatever your script is, just practice, have it down pat, because you are only going to get a couple of seconds to make a mark and for them to potentially want to use you. Or refer to you if they do have someone looking to buy or sell. So know what you want to say. Offer something of value to them. So get to the point quick. You want to make sure the message is impactful and of value to them. So you don't want to just go say, hey, I want to sell your house because I'm awesome and I'm the best realtor in Vero Beach and I'm going to do it in half the amount of time of everyone else and I'm going to market the crap out of this and blah, blah, blah. That's all talking about you. That's not value to them. What's the value to them? Okay. You could potentially get X for your home because the market data shows that your homes in your area are selling for $425,000. And that they're selling within the first 30 days of being put on the market. That's value to them because that gives them an information to be like, oh, wow, I only paid $150,000 for this house 20 years ago. And you're saying I can make $425,000 right now? Potentially, yeah. So you're giving them value to say, all right, now I really do have a decision to make. Do I want to cash in on that? And keep it all about them. If you can find out some information of what's motivating them or what they're looking to do, then obviously those open-ended questions, let them talk. If they're willing to give you the time, definitely stand there and talk with them. All right, but you want to offer something of value. So don't talk about you, don't talk about what you offer. Your sellers, talk about them, make it very focused on the neighborhood or something that maybe you catch as a passion to them and really, hone in on that. Because they might even say, like when you're talking to them about, I'm helping, Sally Smith sell 123 Main Street just down the road from you. She's like, oh yeah, that's the house with the beautiful, poinsettia tree or whatever. And then you can start talking about, gardening, because that that's something they really like, if you have that knowledge, which I do not, but I would be able to BS my way through it. So here we go. So offer something of value to them. Coordinate door knocking with open houses. So this is a really good way to maximize your open house and get potential other leads. So if you have an open house in a particular neighborhood, take a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, a couple days before, or even the morning of. And one thing you can do is you can open up the open house an hour before to just neighbors. And that way you get those looky-loos out of the way, but you're getting face-to-face interactions with the neighbors. So it would go something like this, like, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We have an open house down the street on Saturday morning, starting at 10 o'clock. But what I want to do is I want to open it up for all the neighbors to come by, check it out, have a cup of coffee with me, and have a conversation about the industry and what's going on in your neighborhood. I would love to see you there. We're opening up at 9 o'clock specifically just for the neighbors to come by and chit chat. You'll get a lot of people that are interested, and it's something that works well. So that's a good way to coordinate with the door knocking. Then you can also add your other scripts in there, as far as, oh, by the way, have you ever considered a move, or have you talked to any of the neighbors that might have considered a move? Because now they're going to give you potentially, oh yeah, Jane over there at 215 Main Street has decided, she's talking about potentially putting her house in the market and getting it ready, or I saw some moving trucks or whatever. They might give you some little hints of people to go talk to, and just make sure you're listening and taking note of that. You also want to have them engage in the process. As we said, one of the part of the scripts could be, hey, help me help you choose your neighbors. We can, if you help me by giving me some referrals, I'll try to sell them this house. And now you're directly helping choose who you're living with and who's in the same community as you. So that's something that they might want to get involved with, and might actually send you some buyer clients, which is good. Whether they buy that house or not is irrelevant. So that's what we just talked about. Give them the opportunity to choose your neighbors. So they refer you some buyers. In a quick little script, as we said to this, is, do you have any friends or family who are thinking about buying a home? Would you mind sharing my flyer with them? Or if you wouldn't mind giving me their number, I would be happy to present the opportunity to them. So this is a kind of nonchalant way of asking for referrals. And if you can get some sort of contact information from them, that's the ultimate opportunity. So name, phone number, email address, if they're willing to provide it, and they're willing to let you drop their name, that's great. Another good way to help let you talk is you're offering them a gift to exchange. So walk around with a box of donuts or munchkins or something along those lines. Don't tell Colleen I said that. But when you're knocking on the door, you're literally saying, hey, I'm just walking around the neighborhood. I'm a realtor, and I'm promoting the listing that we have down the street. And I would love to have a little conversation with you. And in exchange for your time, I would like to offer you a donut or, a potted plant or whatever. So have something of little value, little gift to respect their time, and have them, now they feel like they owe you at least a minute or two, to kind of let you give your pitch and, have a conversation about it. So that's another idea to do. So this is the KISS philosophy. Keep it short, silly. So we'll keep it positive. So you want to make sure that's all positive. Everything, the neighborhood's great. You guys take great care of it. I can really tell that, you and your neighbors are very interested in keeping up with the appearances of your house and taking care of it. So you can keep everything positive. Make sure that it's, you're not talking about anything negative. You're not getting involved in the drama that, that goes on in some of these neighborhoods, and just make sure it's a positive experience. And then watch out for the social cues. So don't linger. If they start, if you start feeling that awkward, like, oh, how do I get out of this conversation? Then end it. Make it, just say, hey, listen, I really appreciate your time. You know, I'm gonna get going, but can you know, I get an email address and put you on my monthly newsletter? Would you mind that? Or at least, you know, here's some business cards. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Would love to have a further conversation with you about this. Always be respectful of the time that they are taking to talk with you, and make sure that, you know, you're saying, I really appreciate you taking that time, you know, to open your door and have a conversation with me. You know, I really appreciate it. And you don't want to linger because, you know, what if they have, you know, a baseball game going on in the background or whatever, and they just, now you're just a hindrance to them. So you want to make sure that they're doing that. All right, make no's work for you. So don't be pushy, but if they open the door and are nice enough, have a goal of getting something. So whether that's an email address or a confirmation that you can follow up with them on at another time to talk further about the market or what you can potentially do for them, in their listing, or if they're interested in having a marketing presentation, whatever it is, have a goal to at least try to get an email so that you can send out, you know, quarterly newsletters to tell them what's going on in their neighborhood, houses that have sold, whatever you want to do and set up for that drip campaign or that marketing material. This is a good way to try to drop that and try to get your distribution list filled out. But don't be pushy. So if it's feeling forced, don't force it. Just move on, because otherwise you're gonna end up getting a bad reputation in the neighborhood if you're being pushy with some people. Neighbors talk. So, you know, if 5 of them say, oh yeah, there's a realtor from Exit Right Realty that came to my door and they just would not let up, well, then that's not a good thing for you if you go and knock on 5 more doors the next week, and they've already heard about you in a negative way. So yeah, as I said, email address to put a monthly newsletter together to become an expert of that neighborhood. So you want to make sure that you keep it quick and impactful, and you want to make sure that you're adding value to them. All right. So here is a team challenge that we're gonna do. And I think we sent an email out about it last week. But we would like, this is something that's been very successful up in Jacksonville. They've cultivated 12 new listings just from doing this. I think it was over like a 3 or 4 week period. So what they did was they partnered up. So 2 realtors would partner up and they would just hit a neighborhood together, and they would go knock on doors and they'd have a good time with it. And they have these little door hangers that they got, so that they would take with them. It's every Friday. They'd go out and they just get it done. So you pick a neighborhood, you become an expert on it. If you don't want to do the same neighborhood, you know, maybe pick 2 or 3. And this week you're focusing on neighborhood 1, next week neighborhood 2, the week after neighborhood 3, and then maybe week 4 you go back to neighborhood 1 and canvas the rest of it. So whatever you're comfortable with, but you want to make sure you're becoming an expert at all the neighborhoods that you're picking. So try to keep it to 2 or 3, and that way you can just kind of rotate. But this is a really good way to generate some listings. And when you partner up with this person, you know, what we are proposing is you do a 50-50 split on anything you get in that neighborhood from your prospecting efforts of door knocking. So this should be fun. This should be something to just generate some business for you, and just have a really good time with it. Okay, so by the way, Colleen is also itching to team up with someone and do this. So if there's anyone that wants to join in with Colleen, she will do it with you, and she will you'll see some really cool results, I bet. So she's shameless when she's out there. So that's the presentation for today. You know, door knocking can be a lot of fun. You can meet a lot of cool people and have a lot of great experiences doing this. So I wouldn't make it anything more than what that is just have a good time. It's a great way to generate business. It's personal. You're up in the face with some people, and, having a good time with them and just making sure that, keep the conversation light, funny, be memorable. And, then when they are ready, they're probably going to keep, if they like you, they're going to keep your business card right up on their fridge. So when they're either ready to move or they have someone, that they know of that's ready to move, you're going to be getting a phone call. So, they've seen your face. It's a lot harder to say no to someone's face, but it's also much more memorable than, a cold call or whatever. So the more people you're going to talk to, the more people you're going to get in touch with, the better it is for you. And, I think this is a really great way to generate new listings and new activity. So, we hold ourselves accountable. So I'm not going to chase you down to do it, but I can guarantee you the agents that step up and do this and have a good time with it will be successful, and you will get listings out of it. There's not a doubt in my mind, especially in this market. So, if you've teamed up with someone, or, if you want to just give someone a call or call me and I'll help you get teamed up with someone, just give me, get in contact, and we'll start this Friday. So I expect emails from everyone. And if it can't be Friday, that's fine. Do it Saturday. If you can't do it on Friday because you have job restrictions or whatever, find the time to be able to do it and just go do it. It doesn't have to be Friday. That's just the day that we're choosing, because that tends to be a good productive day for people to get some results. All right. So at this point, I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to open it up to any questions.
I don't have a question, Rob, but can I just tell everybody what my experience was?
Yes, please do.
When I first started real estate, and if those that know me know that I'm really big on farming areas. So I was just a young kid. I was only 19 years old. So basically what I did was I chose a farming area, which is a geographical area. So whatever geographical area you want, you could pick however many streets it is or whatever the area is. And then not only do you walk it one time and talk to people or put like a little brochure or a newsletter on their door or what have you, but I suggest, and which worked for me, my farm was almost 1,000 homes, and I would have around 30 to 40 active listings in that farming area. So I'm telling you, yeah, it works, but you have to be consistent. So, I'm not saying you have to go there every single month because, making a personal trip out there, but do it at least a few times a year when you're making an actual visit, and then send them a postcard and then walk it again. Send them a postcard, walk it again. If you're lucky enough to get their email address or their phone number, you could send them a text or maybe call them or something like that. But yeah, what Rob is saying, I agree 100%. And I've done it. I personally have done it. So if you do it and just be yourself, just whatever personality you have, you're going to have people that are going to think you're a weirdo. You're going to, or you get people that are going to like you. And that was my experience. But my end result was I got the listings because I told them, I'm your realtor for this area. If you know of anybody looking to buy or sell, you can even use for sponsoring. Anybody looking to become a realtor, we have 550 offices. That's a great way to also boost up your sponsoring numbers, which I think everybody should get at least one sponsor a year, in my personal opinion. But yeah, make up a little flyer. If you need help, you could always talk to a mortgage lender or any sort of other business that may be able to partner with you. They may be able to help you financially as well in building your brochure. Of course, you have to advertise for them as well. And if anybody has any questions, whether I'm your sponsor or not, it doesn't matter. I'm always happy to help you. Feel free to call me. I'll give you all the straight details on it.
Perfect. Well, thank you, JT.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Debbie, do you have a question or was that a
Nope.
thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Awesome. All right, so who's ready to go door knocking? Bernadette, you just took yourself off mute.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it, but I would suggest to everybody, check out the HOA, if there is an HOA in the community, before you start leaving things hanging on doors or under mats, because I know the community that I'm gonna farm, they get up in arms when there's stuff left and it blows all over the community, and that's a good way for me to make a lot of enemies in this community, is to leave paper in here. So I know that just from being familiar with the community, but that's one thing you might want to make sure that
Great point.
they allow, even if it's advertising and it falls under soliciting, you just have to be really careful and know, some of these HOAs are pretty strict.
That's a great point. And on the second tier to that too, is it's a federal offense to open people's mailboxes. So, do not do that either. That's a really good point. So make sure that you are aware of the area local laws and make sure that you're not putting things in mailboxes, because that will get you in trouble for sure. But everything else, you want to, the key to this is you definitely want to get face to face with people. You want to have those conversations, and you want to just give yourself activity and opportunity to, get some listings. So, just make sure that you have that in mind and everything is good. Just don't touch mailboxes. Well, thank you for that input. And I look forward to seeing the results early next week. Send me an email if you are teaming up with someone, just so I can have something in writing, and I know how to make the splits happen. So
Yeah.
If you put it in the mail, you can. So the question was, how can you mail out postcards? If you put it in the mail, you're fine. You just can't physically, basically you're stealing from the post office. Long story short, if you're putting stuff in the mailbox, then they're not getting the stamp revenue and blah, 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 blah. So that's basically what ends up happening. So if you're going to, mail it out through the postal, through direct mail and stuff, that's fine. That's legal. You just can't physically put your material in or on someone's stuff. Hey, Debbie.
If you're going to do a mailing, make sure that you've got the proper postal regulations on your piece. Otherwise, they won't take it. I learned the hard way on that. So make sure that you do your homework and that you get that little postal stamp on there and everything that you need on the mailing piece so that you can mail it if you're going to do a mailing, and that it is the appropriate size.
Perfect.
You also might want to make sure everybody kind of tells you at least to which areas they're doing, so we don't have duplication. Because that probably wouldn't be good if we had more than one, in the
Team.
same, area.
Team up.
Unless you're all.
If you end up crossing yourselves in a neighborhood, I'm not going to police that. So if you guys want, you can use the Facebook page to say, hey, I'm going to be canvassing X area. If anyone wants to join me, or stay away. That's whatever you want to do. I'm not gonna police that. So if you guys want to utilize the Facebook page, our internal Facebook page for our realtors, that's more than fine, and that'll actually be cool because it will create the discussion going back and forth with everyone, and maybe idea sharing of what's worked, what hasn't worked, and just kind of create a little conversation about it between all you guys. I think that'd be awesome. So use that. Utilize the Facebook post and just let everyone know what areas you're canvassing. Sound good? All right. Looking forward to it. We'll see some great results. I know, because you guys are all looking excited about this. Yeah,
If
Bonnie's
anybody
excited.
wants
Look
to
at
do,
Bonnie. What?
if anybody wants to do an open house this weekend in Port St. Lucie at the Savannah Lakes property, I do have an offer in on it that we're negotiating. It's had a fair amount of interest, but there's it may be a good way to get some prospects and or even additional offers. So if anyone would like to do it, I've only put it in for, I think, 1 to 3 on Saturday, but I can certainly adjust as, you know, it is a land-owned manufactured home. So it's not a bad thing for newbies too.
Mhm.
And
Can you post that on Facebook, the Facebook group?
Yeah, yeah.
And then someone can just respond to you there. All right.
okay,
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to those results.
bye
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
See you next Tuesday.